big relief coming in now. While we're on this story, the huge relief, all 10 FIRs have been clubbed. That is a big headline for you at this hour. Remember, this was a highly contentious issue, and Nupur had really been putting forward this plea, and it's come through just as we were tracking the latest developments coming out of the court that all 10 Nupur FIRs will be clubbed, which is now a big relief for Nupur Sharma in this case. Nalini, I'm going to go across to you for the implications of this. We were just discussing what would happen if this were to take place, and that relief has come through.
Yes, Abha, like we were telling our viewers, what the bench has said is that since this court has already taken cognizance of the serious threat of life and liberty of the petitioner and specific instances have been cited, we direct that all FIRs be transferred and clubbed together for the purpose of investigation by the Delhi police. So like we predicted, it is a big relief coming in for Nupur Sharma. At least 2 of the 3 things that she'd asked for in her petition, she's got that. She's got all the FIRs clubbed together and transferred to Delhi so that she can cooperate with the investigation. All of the FIRs are now going to be investigated by the Delhi police, not their respective state polices. And what the court has also said is that the Delhi police has to ensure that all FIRs, including the first FIR that was filed in Maharashtra, should be investigated together. Of course, the entire Mohammed Zubair case has made a huge impact even to bring relief to Nupur Sharma, because right at the beginning of the hearing, we had heard Justice Suryakant mention the Mohammed Zubair case, how he was part of the bench, and a similar relief was granted to Mohammed Zubair in that case as well. So it's a big relief coming in for Nupur Sharma right now. There is no doubt about the fact that she is going to breathe a huge sigh of relief, because now this means that she will not have to travel to multiple states, which is what she has been asking for from the Supreme Court from the very beginning. The first time around, of course, things did not go according to what she had planned. In fact, I don't think she was even expecting the kind of statements and observations that have come in from the Supreme Court bench in the very first hearing. And what we are given to understand right now, Abha, is that Senior Advocate Mahesh Jethmalani is also joining us on the phone line. Sir, if we can just take a couple of questions from you. A big relief coming in for Nupur Sharma. All of the FIRs against her have been clubbed and transferred to Delhi. This is something that we were expecting might happen in the very first hearing, but sooner rather than later it has happened. So what are your first reaction and comments regarding this?
Well, I mean, that's the right way to go in this matter. The Supreme Court has acted as it's acted in the past, where there have been multiple FIRs. They've consolidated all the FIRs, because you're otherwise investigating, different police stations are investigating the same offense, arising out of the same facts to one particular TV episode. So it's the completely correct way to go. They've consolidated all the FIRs and left it to one police station, probably, where the first FIR was filed, one of the early FIRs was filed.
So in fact, there was a request that was made for a court-monitored investigation to be conducted in this case, but the Supreme Court categorically said that there will be no monitoring of the investigation, because that's going to put an undue pressure on the investigating agencies. Any comments regarding that?
Yeah, I mean, why does this case need to be monitored? Because ultimately, there's a statement, and all that one has to decide is whether any of the the statements were made, right? So there's very little scope for investigation anyway. One has to consider whether the statements were violative of the sections that have been invoked, whether it is 295 or 153 or 505, whatever the sections they've invoked. One has to only look at the comments and see whether they violate the section. You have to take a call on that. So what scope for investigation, and therefore what scope for monitoring? This is not some complicated case where monitoring is required.
So the court has also gone ahead and extended the interim protection that was granted to her. From this point on, how do you see this case being played out? Will it now be up to the investigating agency to conduct the investigation and then come back to court? Or do you think there is some other relief along the way for Nupur Sharma? Because she was also asking for the FIRs against to be quashed. But the Supreme Court said that at this stage there is no entertaining that whatsoever.
Well, listen, the way I interpret the Supreme Court, correctly taken the view that this is a case where there's no need for custodial interrogation, because whatever has been said is visible and audible on the television, on the recording, right? So what investigation is required in this matter? Right? Therefore, there is no need for custodial interrogation. Right? That's one. And secondly, as far as monitoring is concerned, as I said earlier, why should the Supreme Court monitor it when it's a case where there's precious little scope for investigation? It's the police authorities making a call one way or the other.
So the first time around when the hearing had happened, there were some very scathing observations that were made by the Supreme Court bench. But now they seem to have gone ahead and accepted the argument that was put forth by Nupur Sharma that there is a genuine threat to her life. Do you think the kind of backlash that the Supreme Court judges saw to their statements might have had some impact on the bearing of this case and how it's proceeded after the first hearing?
Well, it's possible, but I can't say with any certainty. I mean, that would be in the realm of speculation. And I don't want to do that where the Supreme Court is concerned or when an order of the Supreme Court is concerned.
Right. That was Senior Advocate Mahesh Jethmalani joining us. Thank you so much, sir, for your comments on the big breaking news story that's coming in. Just to get our viewers up to speed on exactly what's happened in the Supreme Court so far, not only have all the FIRs been clubbed together and transferred to Delhi, bringing a big relief for Nupur Sharma, but the court has also gone ahead and said that the interim protection that was granted to her on the 19th of July, where the court had specifically said that there should be no coercive action that should be taken against Nupur Sharma, has now been further extended at least until the next date of hearing, which means that even though the investigation in the multiple FIRs that have been filed against her will now be conducted by the Delhi police, Nupur Sharma at least at this stage cannot be arrested because she does have interim protection that has been granted to her by the Supreme Court. But at the same time, the investigation will be allowed to go on. The Supreme Court categorically said that there will be no monitoring of the investigation so that there is no undue pressure that is put on the investigation agencies, and there is no question of quashing the FIRs at this stage. That is only something that can be considered once the entire investigation is completed. But despite these observations, big relief coming in for Nupur Sharma, where the FIRs, all the FIRs against her have been clubbed together, have been transferred to Delhi, and now she will have to cooperate with the investigation of the Delhi police in these multiple FIRs against her, all arising out of the same course of action. Back to you in the studio, Abha.